Hello, this is Coffee the Councilman. My name is Logan Kaler, Boone News-Republican. Greg Piklapp. So today we're going to talk about the current status of the Garfield demolition. Old elementary school Garfield. It's not in the best shape anymore, and it's been closed for...
The school itself has been closed for several years, and before that it was owned by Boone Community Theater.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this. Greg says that there was, what was the agreement with the Boone Community Theater?
We came to agreement with Boone Community Theater for the property itself, and the property itself that was no longer up to city code, and we came to an agreement with the BCT, Boone Community Theater, for $50,000, and that was to give them guaranteed revenue for the next few years, several years, so they would be able to count on that for expenses, moving, new property, obtaining new home location, if you will. But basically that money was guaranteed, and then also too, we also included in that agreement an approval to forward the money to them if they should ever find the place before the timeline ran out. So that way they could always call on that money ahead of time, all at once, lump sum, so they could always get a property ahead of time as a down payment.
Kind of jumping back to the current status of Garfield Elementary, it's not in the best shape.
It's not in the best shape. When the city obtained the property and full ownership of it, we ended up moving 30 tons of material inside the building just to get it to the asbestos and start the demolition cleanup. So just to start the process and get to the asbestos removal process to begin, 30 tons of material had to be taken out of it. And we also had to have our contractor run electrical in there, because when the city obtained ownership, all the electrical power to the building had been stripped out. So we had to also run electrical to the building for the generation and equipment for our contractor to proceed.
That's unfortunate, because growing up, I went to Lowell School.
Oh yeah.
And I was in tears when I found out that they were going to demo Lowell, but it was too small. It wasn't in the best shape. It was 1939 or something. Don't quote me on that. And they ended up demoing and getting rid of it, and they developed on it.
Yeah, Garfield is actually even older. It goes back to 1911.
Oh my word.
The newer addition, the auditorium where BCT was housed, that's newer. But the main building, the old classroom section, was built before the Titanic in 1912. So you're looking at a very old building that was well past its lifespan.
Yeah, okay. And then kind of going from there, speaking of Lowell and how they demoed and developed on the block, we're doing the same thing with Garfield.
We are going through the exact same process that we did for Bryant and for Lowell. And those two agreements was partnering with the Boone Community School District, and then we all have new homes there, and both lots are almost completely full. Bryant's completely full. The Lowell section is almost full except for one remaining lot, which they're in the process of starting. And we will be going through the exact same process for Garfield too. So it's a good thing. It's infill, and it helps create new housing that's in demand in Boone.
Speaking of in demand in Boone, we are approaching a deadline for the proposals to develop on the lot after demolition is completed. Can you kind of tell me a little more about that, Greg?
The city has a RFP, request for proposal, out for all developers, anyone that's interested in participating and putting a proposal to mayor and council to use the property for residential single homes. So if you have a proposal you'd like to give us or the city, you need to have that to City of Boone City Hall by March 29th, and that is our deadline for that proposal. Now that's not when there's going to be any decision made. That is just the deadline for proposals to bring forward to the city ED committee, which I chair, and then also forward on the council as well.
So the 29th is the cutoff?
The 29th is the cutoff date for proposals. Now our demolition is proceeding.
Right.
So the demolition is still ongoing and everything else, but the request for proposals is March 29th.
So after that, no, they're not taking any more.
We are not taking any more. It's going to be closed. We want to be as transparent and open as possible, so everyone has the same deadline. If that deadline passes and we don't receive any bids, then that's a question we'll have to revisit at council at one of our council meetings. But any proposals that are submitted by that deadline will be included for consideration.
Let's see. One more thing to ask before we finish up here, what are you hoping to see as the proposals come in?
I'm looking to see more residential home growth for Boone. Boone has a shortage of quality new homes. It's an ongoing issue because Boone right now is in a very hot market. That Realtor.com announcement that we had several weeks ago that we were the #1 small town community in the United States has really even increased. Coming here for this interview, I noticed there was for home signs and sold signs all the way up and down the street. So there's a lot of real estate market movement at the moment and a lot of inquiries. But we're hoping this is part of our multi-income level based home planning. So we're trying to have homes available at all price ranges. So we have the new townhomes going in that's going to be in the 175 range. We have low-income housing for seniors in our Alice project down the south side by Highway 30. We have new homes going in at the golf course Cedar Point that's going to be in the 300 to 330 range. And then we also have homes that we're hopefully going to be putting in all over the community in the 150 range to 210 range. So that way we have a good, stable growth of all segments. So we're not just focusing on one price range for homes. So everyone has an opportunity to buy one if they need it.
That's great, because you got the lower end, the medium, and you got the high for Boone.
High for Boone. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, this has been Coffee with the Councilman, Logan Kaler, Greg Piklapp. Thank you.
Thank you.